Sooner Scoop HD.
Ask about Ashton Sanders specifically, how he changed his body over the last couple of years.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
At one point, I think he was 350 pounds and decided that that wasn't a good weight for him, that he needed to do something about it, and because he wasn't playing like he wanted to, and did. And man, you're talking about some respect for a guy who can make a decision like that, because that's tough. I mean, think about how many sizes of clothes difference that is, right? So he had to parents had to probably buy him a whole new set of clothes 80 pounds later, and that says a lot about his commitment to him being as good as he can be, to me.
He told me that he made that commitment. It was, like you said, a difficult choice, but do you find that's common for guys, that they say at some point their junior year, senior year, they realize, oh crap, I better get serious about this?
I don't think it's common in America. No, I don't. You look at our country. No, I don't think that's common. I think that's very uncommon. And to me, that's what separates him, and that's why I have a lot of respect for him, because he did make that decision because he wasn't happy with where he was. And instead of talking about it, he did something about it. And man, that's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Quickly, just follow up on that. Does that kind of give you, just the fact that he got up to that weight to play the zero tech, you know that his body, if he puts on the right type of muscle, can at least hold that type, his frame can, to play the zero tech for y'all in a three-man front?
Well, he's so versatile, and you look at what happened. His play has tape. He is really, really explosive as far as getting off the ball. He can play a lot of different techniques for us, but the main thing we want to do is attack, get vertical off the ball with our defensive line, and he can do that. He is really, really twitchy and explosive.
Well, speaking of getting vertical off the defensive line, is PJ Adebawore. Can you talk about his game and just his ceiling for you all?
Yeah, another guy that's really, really explosive and really, really long. He's got, I don't know what his wingspan is. It's big, whatever it is. And you look at him rushing the passer and doing things like that, and not just rushing the passer for sacks, but also being able to get his hands up and bat balls, and that's a big deal as well. But man, he's a great fit here. Love his spirit, and he's got a lot of energy, a lot of really good positive energy, and on top of a lot of ability, with a lot of commitment and loyalty to the University of Oklahoma. So really excited about him.
Bob? And Ted, Ashton, Taylor, Marcus, three guys didn't have an offer going into October. A lot of these guys, you get them early, but the benefit, the value of still evaluating players as they're going through that senior season.
Well, you're still a young guy, so you probably don't remember this, but back in the day before the early offer thing started, that's what people did. They played their senior years, and if teams liked their tape their senior years, and they got offers after their senior season or during their senior season. And then with all the early offer thing, I think that started in the 90s, late 90s or early 2000s. Then, sometimes guys that made great jumps during their senior season didn't have the type of offers that maybe their play warranted. And, we can't, certainly we want to find them early, but whenever we find them, and we evaluate them as good fits here for what we do and what we believe in, and yeah, it comes at all times.
James?
Your linebacking classes, they're versatile guys. They all play on offense too in high school and things like that.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this group? It looks like they could, play all three positions for you.
Yeah, you look at all of them. Well, their high school coaches are all good coaches, and they want to get their best players the ball on top of tackling the guy with the ball. So found different ways to get them all. They all were very, very productive. Sammy at wide receiver, Phil at fullback, some tailback, and then Lewis at wildcat, quarterback, tailback. All over the place. Blocking kicks in the special teams world, returning kickoffs for touchdowns. So. All that, I love that. I love the guys that have that, because I think that helps instincts. When you know the other side of the ball, the opposite side that you play on, there's a lot of value in that, and because then you have a better understanding of the other side of the ball, which makes you a better player on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah.
Justin Martinez, far right.
Hey, Ted, you mentioned PJ's skill sets on the field. When I talked to him, one of the first things he mentioned was getting an education, how it's important to his family. His older brother's about to graduate from Northwestern. You kind of just talk about him off the field, who he is, and how he fits with the culture you guys are trying to build here.
Yeah, well, he's he values what we value. You know, he values accountability, he values toughness, he values structure, he values connection, he values family, he values education. And those are the things that, like, regardless of how this landscape of college football changes, that, you know, those things last forever. The other things that come with it sometimes don't last forever, but those things can last forever. And I think he's a great fit here. Sure.
Ryan Chapman? Your defensive backs looks like a ton of guys that have versatility for whatever you guys want to do with them when they get on campus. How much does that excite you, and what have you kind of seen? Is there a common thread throughout those guys other than they can just play?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They all do multiple jobs, you know, as far as having a lot of flexibility and versatility. So that part of it, that's what you want, because what that enables you to do is, you know, get your best players on the field, whoever they are, and not get bogged down by this guy is only this or this guy is only this, you know, to have the wherewithal to be able to move the pieces, and at the same time, you know, for them to have the football IQ to learn the system and things of that nature, which, you know, it's going to be a fun deal to add to the young men that we already have. Yeah.
Back, Holden, Bruce Mark.
Yeah, just, you know, talking about the versatility and stuff, a lot of players nowadays kind of get listed as athletes. How hard is it to try and figure out where they best fit on the side of the ball?
Well, again, you know, if I'm a high school coach, I want my best player on the field, whether it's playing defense, playing linebacker, or tailback on offense, or wildcat quarterback, or whatever, because, you know, they want to win games too, and I think they have a unique vantage point, because they're not bogged down by this guy is only this or this guy is only that. They can do that, and I think that's what good coaches do on every level, is find a way to put their best players in the position to make them successful, and certainly not be limited by that. But again, to have versatility and flexibility is just football players. That's a great thing.
So is that something you as coaches discuss, whether you think like a Jacoby Johnson would be better as a wide receiver or a defensive back, you know, kind of thing?
As far as discuss, yeah, we discuss everything about them. But again, you know, you have so many slots on your roster that scholarships allotted to this position, so many scholarships allotted to this position, so they got to be allotted somewhere, and you know, excited about that.
Ryan Aber, front row.
Yeah, Ted, you talk about the versatility of some of those linebackers, offense to defense, but I want to ask you about Sammy in particular and his versatility just defensively. How do you see him fitting into what y'all are doing on defense, both short-term and long-term?
Well, you know, you start with his high school position. He plays wide out. They give him the ball some. He plays defensive end. He plays outside linebacker, and he plays safety, and plays on all special teams. He never comes off the field. So you look at that, and you know his skill set. He's a tremendous athlete and an even better person that comes from a fantastic family, and but to see where he fits in, obviously he's going to be a linebacker, and you know we're still evaluating things as far as the best spot for him. And some of that we won't know until he gets here, but you know, a space linebacker, because those are, when you're out in space and everything comes at you from one direction, that's a little bit easier to play than when you're in the situations where actions are coming at you from both directions. So I think it's easier to play as a freshman the further away from the ball you are, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was just asking because it seems like that cheetah position with his versatility could be a fit for him.
Yeah, Sam, Cheetah, Will, yeah, and so much of it, you know, as coaches we study tape and we evaluate and we get to know these guys, but there's still a certain part of it to being exactly certain once they step on your campus and watch you see them actually play football and practice football and how they retain and learn and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of factors, but that's where we see him in a very general role right now.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
More questions for Coach Root? Eric Bailey, front row.
Holden asked you about versatility of players, offense, defense. Cade McIntyre told me a story how his recruiting dinner, he went to dinner with you and with Joe John, and just what's it like as coaches discussing, you know, okay, and to the recruit as well, discussing, we're still trying to figure out where best suits you.
Well, it's been a few minutes since I was a recruit, so I don't really remember that. But as far as being on this side of the table, it just, you know, the the culture and the values that Coach Venables has laid the foundation for, and you know, obviously accentuated what it exactly is we're looking for. You want to get the right people, and again, a guy like him that, you know, plays both sides of the ball again. But it's good. You know, we have Joe John and I were joking at the table with him about, you know, this, that, and the other, and you know who's going to get him, who's not, whatever. But no, it's just being around good people and that are really good players. And again, if you get tough guys that are committed to doing it, that are bought into your culture, that are talented, you're not going to go wrong.
Also want to ask you about Kendall Dobie, the only JUCO player on this roster. What do you see out of him, and how important was it to get some experience back in the back end?
You see versatility. You see versatility. You see elite transition. You see physicality. You see ball skills, and then you meet him and you see he's the right fit for Oklahoma. And again, excited about Kendall as well. Sure.
Back to John Hoover.
Dave McCullough committed, signed. Can you describe his kind of recruitment when you have to flip somebody that's committed somewhere else, and meeting the family, getting to know the family a little bit as well?
Yeah, you know, that's the world in which we live right now. But as far as meeting the family and recruiting a young man, you do it like you do everybody. You get to know them, you treat them right, you explain and talk to what we're looking for and what this place is about and where we see him fitting in and things like that, and then you present that to him and see if it's a good fit, and then go from there.
Sooner Scoop HD.